technical enterprise is not wholly accurate, although there is a fair amount of technicality involved in the business, obviously, because it's digital, social media, it's new media, there's a lot of different platforms that we use. Personally myself, I've always been involved in technology enterprises, whether it's been in the mobile space or in telecommunication, design, websites. That's always been where I've been, and then I think all of these skill sets then culminated into what we do today. So technical entrepreneurship would be something that I applied before that, and then leading up into us becoming like a investment holding company. Our model is a little bit, I don't know, whether call it innovative. We rely very heavily on social media. Why I consider innovation is because there are two ways you can do this. One is you go and build your own proprietary system. It costs you like millions of dollars. Or you tap off what's already available. And you combine the semantics from the different social media platforms, your Facebook pages, your YouTube analytics, your Google analytics, and you understand what people want. And ultimately, at the end of the day, no one's interested in how well this data is presented, as long as you make sense of it. So that's how we do different innovations to, I wouldn't say create a bigger innovation, but it's to give us that competitive advantage. That's a good question because we've done that 3 or 4 times. Traditionally, any web business is built off the revenue model of advertising. You generate content, and we actually modify our business model to go from what I call blank advertising. That means I generate a lot of content, and I hope that someone goes to a YouTube channel, sees 1,800 videos, and decides, okay, let's place an ad. So what we did was that we started tailoring content that will be appealing to them. That because it is not seen to be advertising, it's seen to be editorial content. I guess I've had my fair share of falling and failing, I guess a little bit of success here and there. But it's always been the previous company that stopped me the most. That you should never take anything for granted. The day you start thinking that it's there for life, it works very fast. The next day you lose everything. Yeah, I would have curbed my temper a lot younger. But I guess other than that, there's really not much I could have changed. Business is as such, running your own company is as such. That's always, I could do the same business again. And if the previous one was successful, the new one could be a complete flop. So it's really unpredictable. All we can do is really to keep learning from our failures, which is very, very important. A lot of people fail and they stop trying. Don't stop trying. Trying builds character, working hard for something builds character. Falling, failing builds even more character. It teaches you how difficult life really is. So, if you have a dream and you want to pursue it, I strongly encourage you to do so, because you live only once anyway. Don't expect people to come here and say, here's $1 million and for you to try. That economy doesn't exist anymore. Basically, the investors look for people who get their hands dirty first these days, because money is not so easy to come by anymore. It's by no means a comfy life. You will sacrifice a lot of sleep, you will sacrifice a lot of personal time, family time, but it's a very rewarding experience.
And I had to cut my hair after that because my commander in BMTC told me that I'm not appropriately dressed. My hair is all wrong, so I went for a haircut. It's quite interesting actually that I came out from, that I just did my ICT at BMTC, where we actually conduct a sit test for the recruits. And I know what you've seen in our Boys to Men too, where we go there and eat Oreos, and it's nothing like that. We actually get a fair bit of a suntan, and we actually do run around with the recruits, and sometimes we do more stuff, or we do the stuff that they do. But there's this one group that was very interesting. It was a mixture of JC and Poly students. And there's this one particular guy which I thought really, really stood out. And one of the obstacles is that you're supposed to cross this artificial river. There's no real river in Singapore, right? So there's this artificial river, you're supposed to build a structure, and you're supposed to cross it. And so what happened was that he built this structure, or the group built this structure, and he was the team leader, and what they did was that they placed the structure and it fell into the river. So they failed the mission. And everyone was very dejected because everyone assumes that the passing or the failing of the sit test, and I hope I don't get arrested for saying this by military police because it's military secret, but the passing and failing of the sit test is not really how we pick the officers. It's really, we want to see how you're doing it. We want to see how you get answered. We want to see what leadership quality really is. And leadership quality isn't always in succeeding in something. Leadership quality actually comes from the ability for you to fail. For the ability for you to pick yourself up, and importantly to pick your team up when you fail. So this guy came up to me and said, "Hey sir, I tried again, can I?" I said, "You can do whatever you want, man. You've got 30 minutes. There's no real river. It's not like your logs will really wash away. You can climb over your buddy if you want to. Of course, I can't allow that. Safety. Sure, don't get me in trouble." So what they did was that they rebuilt the structure and they did it 4 times. And I was really, really impressed because everyone was really, really tired. And he just kept telling them, "Hey, let's just finish this so we can go back and rest. We get this done now, we go back and rest." And I think it was really, really cool. I mean, the guy's like, what, 18 years old, 19 years old. I don't know how old he is, but I'm definitely way older than he is. And to see that kind of energy that burning in 38 degrees Celsius sun is just ridiculous. Which, I mean, honestly speaking, I was just telling some people that when I came to talk about this today, I didn't really know what I was going to say. Because people have always asked me how I've used technology to impact the different companies I've started. What is it like to fail? What's it like to succeed? Which I haven't. What's it like to be me? What's it like to wear jeans to work? What's it like to wear slippers to work? Not asking sorts of questions. But at the end of the day, I think it was really inspiring because I saw a group of people who eventually all became leaders in their own right. And sometimes in leading, you need to learn how to follow. Everyone likes to have that final say. This is the way we do it. And they hope that everyone follows that. That's not really the case. The best leaders I know really know when to follow. And I think this particular company that I started, the Vox Group, as Vox is really a subsidiary of it, we try to deliver that very, very well to employees. So, let me just draw a comparison, right? This is a question that I have 2 groups here actually asked me about this company, Vox Group, my previous company, MGX Communications, and what's so different about these 2 companies? Well, obviously the products and services that we deal with are completely different. The next big difference was that MGX Communications was run by a tyrant, me lah. Right? So, that's a really encouraging after, I love it. So, back in 2006, me and a couple of directors started this company called MGX Communications, and we were very under the line. I mean, no one knew us as MGX, but what everyone knew was that we were providing SMS banking solutions to MTN Ghana. We were servicing the North African market, and we were grossing like 30 million a year. While that was really, really cool, I completely understand where Patrick is coming from. I had 150 engineers under me, and I treated them like absolute dirt. Meaning, I will make them work 24/7, I will not pay their bonuses, I will treat them terribly, and I wouldn't care if there was staff turnover. And that's just the way it is. Right? You're young, you get your multi-million-dollar investment, and you think you rule the world. Well, guess what? Things turn. Regardless whether you want it or not, I believe that there are forces in this world that work against you. You don't treat people right, someone up there, someone there, somewhere, is going to treat you badly as well. What happened was that some idiot introduced the concept of 3G. Brilliant. And because we were so complacent, we refused to believe that 3G would infiltrate, in our case, Ghana and Nigeria. So guess what? Vodafone decided to buy over MTN Ghana and completely removed the SMS infrastructure and jumped all the way to 3G, and now they're serving 4G even faster than us. So overnight we lost our market, company crashed, went to debt, sold my house, my car, sold my last pair of underwear, and my mistake. That's not really worth anything, I'm just saying, right? But I sold everything so that the company could be liquidated and we would pay off. When you're doing well, paying a $5,000 audit fee is like, hey, just do it lah. When you're not doing well and the auditors start chasing you like, hey, hello, I'm paying you to close down my company, I can't pay so much money, what's wrong with you? Right? I'm closing down, it's the reason why I'm closing down, I got more money lah. Hey, And then the guy's like, hey, you used to pay me. So it just goes on and on and on. And I think that the humbling lesson that I learned was that you need to treat people well, because when that company folded, I basically had no one to turn to, whether it was my managers or whether it was my employees. And some of them have gone on to build really, really big businesses in the US. Some of them have gone on to build, really, really successful businesses. And I guess there's no amount of apology you can make or you can give to make people's lives better. You need to show it in your two hands. And that is kind of like an epitome for me. And that's why I call this new company the Vox Group. Vox is voice in Latin. See, a lot of people get us confused. They think that this company is called Vox Sports. It's not true. Vox Sports just means the voice of sports. One of the things we do is that we give athletes, such as yourselves, or me, although I don't know whether I want, the ability to be seen in media, mainstream, new, and emerging media, as a potential celebrity. But there's a much deeper meaning behind this company. This company was actually started by me and my other partner. And what we did was that instead of investing money in people who could produce media, who could write scripts, who could be producers, obviously, or Hollywood stuff, we invested time and money to people who had troubled backgrounds. So we took in people who failed at A-levels, we took in people who dropped out IT, we took in people who basically couldn't find a route in life. And we said, here's a camera, go down to the ground, make a difference. And what they did was that they found that they were holding on to this very powerful device, like the one right there, the handy cam right there. They were holding on to this very powerful device, and they could now make a difference in the life of an athlete. By taking your footage and by editing it, even though the quality is not that great, we're not looking for that, and putting it on YouTube gives athletes an avenue that they never had before, especially in Singapore. If you guys are athletes and you follow the Singapore sports scene, there was a point in time where I played tennis for Singapore. We beat Malaysia for the first time. First time in 50 years, we beat them. And they told me to take a bus home. That was heartbreaking, man, I tell you. And the bus didn't have aircon, my goodness. They were suffocating from Kelantan to Singapore. And then the Malaysian guys, they were having their usual stuff, and they were flying back to Chian and stuff. But other than that, what we did was that we invested in people who were not media trained. And a lot of people, honestly speaking, a lot of people laughed at us. A lot of people laughed at me. A lot of my colleagues laughed at me. They were saying, you just ended up another company. Before that, you had some success and you winded up the previous company, and now you're investing in something that's probably never going to work out. Media is media, right? How many of you today, honestly speaking, would watch something that's produced by a local producer as compared to a Hollywood producer? And let's just be honest. If you went out there and you shot a movie and you put it into Golden Village, I guarantee you will not make money from the movie. And that's just how it is, right? Because we're not marketed enough. The point is that when we did this entire exercise, and I still call it an exercise because, not really you can't take anything for granted, is that we wanted to show people, or we wanted to show our employees, the people that we work with, that this company has a heart. Also coming from my own lessons was that if your company doesn't have heart, then you just become another one of those. Your success is very bland. When you taste the success, you're like, money only one. Just start another company and make another few $1 million and just get over and done with. But when you start a business with heart, it makes a lot of difference. I found myself doing so much more for this company than I've ever had for my previous 4. I still go down to the ground and take my photos, I still do the videos, I still do the production, I do a smiling face, I don't sleep for 3 days and I still love it. I laugh and joke with my guys. I've had people who have never, ever, ever operated a handycam before in their life, today producing the corporate video for TWC. And that is hard. To me, that is hard. And that's why when we do our interviews, when we talk about internship programs with Vox, people always say, guys, you know what? I conducted an interview session yesterday, and this girl came up and she's like, I don't qualify. I'm like, why? I'm like, whoa, that's really in my face, right? You're either too good or you're too lousy, or I'm just not good enough for you. And basically, she told me that, my work's really very so-so. I'm not sure, Darren, I join your company, destroy your company, and generate nonsense for your website. And I'm like, if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach. And I believe that nothing is not teachable in this world. The only one thing that cannot be taught really is what's inside you. If you're not a good person, or if you are choosing to join a company to deceive them, then I strongly urge you to think again. Because this world works in really, really funny ways. I am now a very firm believer of this thing called karma. You know, karma is a big thing that I believe in these days. And I think Patrick and Nance have said this a lot of times. A lot of opportunities out there. Trust me guys, you go out there today, each and every one of you will have $1 million opportunity on the table. It's whether or not it's the right thing to do. And if you do the wrong thing, and take it from me, I still get swayed sometimes. I'm still in my, I'm not 18 now obviously. I try to think I'm a bit younger. So we still get, I still get swayed sometimes. I'm thinking, wow, that's a really, really good opportunity. But then you think about the caveats behind it. You think about having to face yourself in the morning, you know, looking at yourself in the mirror, brushing your teeth. If I remember to, I'm kidding. Right? You think about having to face yourself. It's quite tiring, and then you have to face your employees. You need to explain to them why you're doing certain things. I'm really quite tired of that. I mean, my previous company, I did that a lot. I mean, trust me, dealing with Africans, my goodness, everything is shady at the time. No offense, please don't shoot me. Okay? But it's true, right? I give you an example. We transacted 3 million euros on a single SMS transaction because people were withdrawing money. So every SMS transaction we take a cut, right? And obviously they didn't want to pay. So they come to me and say, if you want the money, you fly down to Ghana and take it from me. I'm like, are you absolutely out of your mind? But the thing is this, at that point in time I just wasn't mature enough. I was actually thinking I might go down to Ghana and take the money from you. Thankfully I didn't. Thankfully I had a mom who slapped me in place. And she said that you're not boarding any plane to Africa. You know what, you can just keep the money. And looking back now, I mean, I had my goals with her, I was arguing with her. I'm really, really thankful that it wasn't the money that swayed me. Which is on to my next point. Why do you want to start enterprise? A lot of them say that, or a lot of traditional doctrines tell you that you start enterprise, you become entrepreneur, you want to make a lot of money. Which is not wrong, but that's a very short-term goal. Guys, you want to make money, go and work. Okay? Every month you get your pay, don't need to have so much headache. If you want to start enterprise, there needs to be value. And this value is both internal and external. External value to your customers, to your clients. What are you doing? Are you doing something that actually makes sense? Or are you just adding a burden to someone? More importantly, I find, and please correct me if I'm wrong, more importantly, I find value needs to start from inside. The value needs to start from the people within your company because that's the beginning of your supply chain. If your people don't like the company and they're doing it for money, you will never accomplish the great things. You will never be able to sit down with them and say, guys, we have an edit due in 12 hours, can we do it? If people don't share the same vision with you, if you've not been treating them properly enough, just going to walk away from you. They don't need to do it. Honestly speaking, if you ever sign an employment contract, look at it, there are things that you don't need to do. And your employer cannot force you to. So sometimes they say, you don't do it, I fire you, right? Really go by the book about it. They really can't do anything against you. So why enterprise? I mean, people ask me, I started my first company when I was 17, illegally of course. Building computers for people and selling customized computers to people. And this is my 5th company that I've run. And people always ask me, what drives you? Why that thing? People say, hey, you got a lot of energy, right? I was like, no, it's not the energy that pushes me forward. It's the ability to discover new things. And I think I said in my video, you live only once. If I don't try now, then when? Right? If you think that you're going to get older and you're going to start a company, then it's always going to be something that you're procrastinating. Every day. And it need not be a company that you're starting. It could be a social initiative. It could be a charity, it could be an organization, it could be a social, whatever. I guarantee you the experience is the same. Because you have to deal with people. And that's always the worst. I have this very famous saying, right? And it's become like a doctrine. If money can solve the problem, it's not a problem. It's when the problem comes from people. Whether people want to cheat you, deceive you, connive, or you want to do the reverse to people, that's where the problem is. And trust me, now that our company is growing and we are expanding to US in September, I have a lot of people telling me, oh, you should try to spin off other things and do this and do that. And I tell them, whoever has stuck on with me since we started 4 years ago will carry on with me until they tell me they don't want to do this anymore. But I will not remove them from the company. You cannot tell me that people are not skilled enough and hence you must remove them. Because these are the people who built it with you. These are the guys who worked for you for free when you first started. These are the guys who said, boss, let's just go and do this, man. Never mind, you pay me 2 years down the road, it's not a problem. And now you're telling me that I need to remove them. It's not going to happen. Not unless I need. So, a lot of lessons I think we can learn tonight. But one of the things I want to touch on is this thing about boring stuff. Technology and world change. Love it, right? I mean, like, oh. Right? So now let's go to the boring part. So, when I started my first online retail shop, virtual pro shop, where we were retailing and distributing all the Nikes and Adidas and stuff like that, there was no such thing as social media. Honestly, developing an online mall was a pain in the right? We did it HTML page by page. Edit, wow, I tell you, I'm sorry for the English, but seriously, right? The editing of a online mall without a framework is just nonsensical. You better be selling it at a massive markup, not onto it at all. Which kind of led to the entire, the whole .com bubble burst. The point is that technology has advanced so much. And for you guys who are starting technology businesses, like Man in Yellow, love your work, Elastic.sg, woo! Awesome. Right? And of course, Flitch, the guys from Flitch as well, you guys are brilliant as well. The thing that you need to always watch out for is, and I believe in technology, is expenditure. You can never forecast enough how much your infrastructure is going to cost you. Secondly, you need to always be on what I just learned. It's a technology curve. My goodness, it's just a Bible of technology. Not that I'm Christian, but right? It's just crazy. I mean, technology has changed so fast. If I had started my retail shop today, I would have never have reached the heights that I reached before because Google is like giving you like free online mall and Facebook's got like offers. I don't even know. I have 4 Twitter followers on my Twitter account now. Okay, I don't know why they say I run a new media company. My Twitter account is abysmal. I tweet something and everyone ignores me. Everyone doesn't care. I'm like, woo! I just bought a new camera. Silence. I bought a new lens. Graveyard silence. Don Young says something like, I'm going for advertising shoot. She gets 1 million retweets, and I don't understand why she takes a photo of a fingernail and she gets. I just get, maybe I should take a picture of my toenail next time. You're all right? But the thing is, technology changes so fast, and some of these new semantics we just don't understand. Like Twitter, right? I will never get it. Sorry, all the Twitter fans. I barely even get Facebook these days. It's changed so much. Honestly, I was like 101st subscriber to Facebook. I was in Palo Alto when that happened, and I thought this was really cool. I don't want to get Facebook these days. So when you want to implement technology and how it's changed the world, is that it's made web businesses, mobile businesses, technology businesses extremely hyper competitive. The guys who did Elastic and Flitch, and they're doing it, I think you're doing a great job. Just watch for the trends. These trends always need to be watched. Which is what we try to adapt with us. We don't actually develop anything new. If you want me to summarize Box Sports as a brand, we're actually a supply chain business. We don't, if you go to our website, boxsports.com.sg, we don't actually have a massively nice website. We don't even have like an interactive widget or thing that you can chat with one another. We don't care about that. We are focused in making sure that the content that we generate reaches multiple millions of people as fast as we can in the highest possible quality, which is relative, right? So when we look at that as a supply chain, we look at point A all the way to point B being the point where it reaches customer, and we ignore everything in the front end because we know we just don't have the pocket to compete with people in the front end. We are not going to get $10 million to build a website. It's not going to happen. I've tried, trust me, I have. written a 400-page proposal on how a few of us could potentially combine the concepts of Twitter, Facebook, and whatever it is, whatever book and whatever Twitter else you can think about, and how we could start something from Asia, spread to China, and infiltrate the American market. It's not going to work. There are other forces out there that are working against you. That's as far as I'll tell you now. Okay? So, how does this link together with value in your enterprise? How does this link together with loving, what Mr. Liu said about loving your employees? I don't work my guys to say I love them. I'm not as good as he is. But when things change so much, you need to remember that the change doesn't only impact you as the owner. It impacts your employees as well. What happens if tomorrow you want to launch this supposed killer application from a company and your engineers have been working on it, your marketing team is working on it, your production team is working on it, and then tomorrow Google says you are launching it as well? You know what that does to your company morale? Let's just say you could pick it up on the floor. You take 6 feet under before you could pick it up. But it's always about inspiring them, which is honestly sometimes the hardest thing to do. It's always about pushing them forward. It's always about telling them, guys, don't worry. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. If you can't do it this way, we'll do it the other way. But in order for you to reach that stage where you can talk to them like, hey bro, hey sister, what's up? A lot of people who own companies, they think that if I go to my employee and say, hey bro, that the employee will say, hey, quite cool, my boss. You'll be surprised because you are not the employee. Sometimes they are also wondering, what is he thinking? Why is he suddenly treating me so nice? This Sunday confirm will get it done. Gonna confine some extra. Right, sorry, that's the army talk coming out, right? But in order to establish that reputation, a lot of us forget that you need to become friends with your employees first. You need to have tangible relationship. You need to be able to play football with the guy. For him to tackle you without you having to pull rank on him and say, Monday go back home. And that's something that we spend a lot of time on. For us, internally, what we do is that we never hold our meetings in office. I hate that. We always hold our meetings at McDonald's. And during our off meetings, we always buy our employees lunch, regardless how many of them there are. And the reason is very simple. If we don't treat these people well, these people who, some of them we've taken off the street, some of them that we've tried to inspire to do greater things, they will just go back to the streets and be who they are again. And that, to me, is a much bigger failure than the company itself is. That is really an ultimate failure because the vision of the company is completely, it's just down the drain. Right? What we set out to do has failed. It doesn't matter whether or not we syndicate to millions of people or whether how much money you're making. You failed. Because your vision is failed. And if you can look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, alright man, I made so much money, you know what, all my vision I can screw it and throw it away. Then I think you are not really an entrepreneur. I think you're more of a businessman than anything else. Because then it's very cruel. You just go out there and you farm people to do things for you. Right? See, he knows that meaning of farm people. To do these things for you and just accomplish what you want. And a lot of times my employees ask, why is it that we press so hard, the ops team, and why is it that we press so hard to cover so many things? I mean, today Vox Sports we cover almost 97% of the Singapore sports market. We do everything from Singapore University Games all the way up to the SD broadcast. And we're all doing it from manpower that has never been trained to handle the camera. And it's a very enriching experience, really, because I never thought that that could ever happen. The point is this. The point is, it's not about what we're doing now that counts. It's really about how you're doing it. It's really about what your employees see in the management. What do they see in the owner? Why? Because what they work towards and what they look towards when they need help is you. When they need help for something, when they need direction for something, they're not going to ask their colleague. There's a high chance you're going to come up here and say, hey boss, I need help for something. And if you don't have that kind of rapport with them, you don't have that kind of trust, and trust is two-way. You can trust them, they might choose not to trust you. right? I'm quite sure even as friends, varying levels of trust. Imagine if you have to work under someone and he say, hey, you can trust me, you can tell me everything. And the person like, you sell. You just give me my monthly paycheck, I'll be done with it, man. Right? But it's really a very challenging experience. And all this coupled with this makes your life even harder. Guys, there is no business in the world today that can escape from technology. Let me just tell you that. If you think you can run a trading business like before, where you can do everything via fax and phone call, you are sorely mistaken. The very fact that you have an email address means it's technology already. So for all you have that mindset, you've got to get out of it. Everything today is a technology business. That's what I was trying to explain to the group interview me. Everything today is a technology business. And because it is a technology business, it has become hyper-competitive. And because these are factors you cannot control, you better learn to control the factors that are within your company. So that when you fight, you don't take a rifle and run, and the rest of the army is behind you, turning the other way, no. And then you chill, and then you turn, hey, right? And building that really is a lot more than being technically, it's really more than being brilliant. I mean, being academically brilliant or technically brilliant is one thing. You need to know how to treat people right. You need to know how to convince people. When the cards are down, it's okay, we'll walk through it together. Rather than go to people, you can leave. Okay, 1 month notice, you can go. Those days are gone. Nowadays, if you can fire people, people can walk out on you. Thank you very much.